There we go. Good morning, and thanks for joining us today. This is usually my favorite meeting because every time we talk about affiliates, I learn something new every single time we do it. So thanks for joining us. Um, and we'll get right to it. Um, I'm going to be your facilitator today, and I'll ask Chris to keep an eye on the chat box while we're doing this. If anyone has any questions, the meeting is going to be recorded and it'll be posted on our YouTube channel, usually a day or so after the meeting. Um, our panel today will last about 45 minutes, and then afterward, we'll open it up to some Q&A, and we will have some updates on what's going on with the association as well. All right, I'm really excited about our panel, and I'll just tell you in advance, I really appreciate you all being available. So I'm going to let each of our panelists introduce themselves, and we will take it from there, and we have a set of questions. And because it's a small group, you can jump in anytime you want. I don't think we really need to get too formal here today. All right. So we'll start with Richard. Richard, would you introduce yourself and what you do?
Yes, thank you, Paula. Welcome everybody to this, meanwhile, yearly recurring event, the global affiliate market. Thank you, Paula, and your team for asking us, having me on the panel. My name is Richard. I am since 1986, including my first job as a taxi driver in Amsterdam City, in this business. The most recent is I start with the beginning and I continue with the end, is that from April 1st, so last month, we have been merging our company with Holland Limousine Group, a well-known show attendee, Dennis Jansen and his team. We knew each other already for 20 years. We cooperated already for multiple years. And I had my thoughts about thinking about retirement. I already did in 2019, but then Corona pointed me that I wasn't ready for that. But the years after convinced me to continue with that first thought. So officially, I am retired from the business, but I remain connected to the new group Holland Limousine Group as a well. I'm self-employed. I'm not connected to the company directly, but as a advisor, and I will stay in contact with our global contacts like affiliate market, etc., etc. And I will be taking a role in digital marketing, website, and that kind of stuff. We cover the Netherlands, the whole market. The Netherlands is not that big. New York has 8 million civilians. The Netherlands do about, in the whole country, about the double number, so 16 million about. So that's not too big. About global affiliation, our market in the Netherlands is about 80% affiliate work from US and the rest of the world. That's for a lot of operators in US is a little bit surprising number, because most often it's the opposite, or even closer to 90% corporate and 10% affiliate work. Well, we have to deal with 80% affiliate work, and that's because of in Europe in general, the standard taxi service was already at a high level, comparable with the US car services. It was already a requirement by the authorities that you should wear a uniform. You needed to have a polished car, clean in and outside. If we were on a taxi ramp and the wheels weren't clean, you were sent away by the quality police to clean your car first. And then you got to shoot out for at least 2 hours before you were allowed to return back to the taxi ramp. So we have already had our school in the old days to do the right thing. Well, the biggest challenges in the affiliate markets are always the trust. Have confidence in your affiliate. If you are going to send your first job to the other side of the global, you will be nervous. We have all went to that same trip. So it all starts with confidence. Give your trust into the hands. There is a reason that you choose a partner somewhere in the world. And then you should accept it yourself that you did. And that gives you peace of mind, because be convinced that everybody will do the same job as you would do it yourself.
Thank you. And
Thank you.
we're going to dive more into that when we get into our questions. Um, okay, Yoalli, tag,
Yeah.
you're it.
Hello, my name is Yoalli Garcia. I represent Godandi and Sons. We're based in Mexico. I'm personally in Mexico City, and we service all of Latin America. That's our territory of
Okay.
specialization.
Yeah.
We have lots of affiliates in every city, in all of the cities, the main cities
Okay.
of Latin America. So in any Spanish country, a Spanish speaking country, we can help you out. And we've been in business for almost 20 years now. And my grandfather started the business in taxi mode. And then my dad took it to the luxury segment in the limo industry. And nowadays we're expanding it into a global business. And I'm very happy and thankful to be with you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. All right, last but not least, Andreas.
Yeah, thank you, Paula, for passing the mic to me. I'm
Absolutely.
Andreas. I'm working for Royal American Group. We are already more than 16 years on the market. The company started in Florida, and as the owner is half Brazilian or is Brazilian, the company got more and more an approach about like covering all Latin America and the Caribbean. So we do cover global, like we have a global footprint, but like our main focus area are Central, South, and America and the Caribbean. I'm working already 20 years in that area. I'm originally from Germany, so I'm very well familiar also with the market in Europe. Beside executive transportation services, we do also provide non-emergency medical transportations for insurance companies, and we also provide a bunch of security services like executive protection, risk assessment, and these type of services. So we have a worldwide network of about 4,500 partners. And I'm the director of international relations, so I'm one of the person who's also always taking care of the vetting process and quality management regarding our network. So that's all I wanted to say for now.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. Let's roll into our questions. So, first one, what marketing and sales strategies have you found to be effective in selling your services worldwide and why? You can, all right, Richard first.
Yeah, it depends what if you're looking for affiliate work, and it doesn't matter if it's national or international. First thing you have to do is attending the shows, because if you can look your future partner in the eyes and vice versa, that's the first base to have to settle. So communicating via email, it still doesn't say who you are. That's one of the most important things.
Well, at Godandi, we found we needed to increase our sales, and we started going on the digital trend. So we started segmenting through different verticals, like the private aviation, the pharma industry, technology industry, and international events. And so we also visit these different shows, and we pay a stand or we sponsor that. So that goes in line with what Richard does, going to shows. But we also do this on digital segmentation through LinkedIn or Google Display. You know, you can choose some niches digitally and say if these people have a certain interest, then you'll show your ads specifically designed for those. Like for the pharma, you can do something transporting medicals or doctors to an event, to a convention, doctor convention. And if they and this ad will be shown to people who like Lilly or Sanofi or uh, different pharma labs and companies. And we do that same thing for the technology or the energy industries. So it's all online. So that's one strategy. Another one is trying to develop the tech communication, and GNet plays a big part on that. You know, like we need to have seamless communication with our affiliates, and we found that GNet helps on that. Within different reservation softwares, GNet is a great tool to communicate seamlessly amongst these limo companies. But in line with that, we're looking into developing communications like with the expenses software systems for large companies. Like some of them will use Navan, TravelPerk, SAP, Concur, or even Mozio. And we're not there yet, but we're looking into that, into integrating with these large softwares, because we know that's where the business is. And a third strategy that we're using on sales is bilingual or multilingual strategies in different channels. Like LinkedIn is one, Instagram is another channel, Facebook, the newsletters. We're shooting on different targets, you know, different strategies. Not some people say the email outreach is dead, but we started doing the email. We'll see if it works, and as somebody said, if it works, it's not stupid. You know, as long as it works, you gotta keep on doing it. So maybe some people have stopped doing it, but for us, we're sending emails, the newsletter, the creation of a newsletter with also as Andreas has said from Royal American, since we cover an area of the world, Latin America and the Caribbean, where risk is highly perceived. People are also interested in security subjects. So we talk about that. We talk about events that will be taking place in the area that some of our customers will be interested in visiting, and maybe they will find out about these events through us and our newsletter. So using the LinkedIn Sales Navigator is also good, and that builds trust. It builds trust in us in different markets and segment and industries. That's in a nutshell the big strategy, sales strategy that we're covering now.
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to add like a first before you start marketing global services, just get in touch with your current clients, analyze who might have needs for travel in other countries. So this is like because you're already in contact with them, so probably it's much easier to start with your existing clients and see like who might have needs. Then of course it's always great to conquer the whole world. But for us, for example, like we are very specific. So our phase is like that we want to be the number one point of contact for services in Latin America, so that we are recognized in the industry that if you have something in Latin America or the Caribbean, then call Royal American. And this is of course something before you start like okay thinking of like offering and doing marketing for global services, that you need to have also the confidence that you are able to cover certain regions, because there are a lot of regions where you can, in Germany, you say where you can burn your fingers.
Yeah.
And then it takes time until you get the confidence of your clients that they are booking with you in any region in the world. So for example, like we are doing some marketing for Africa, but it's not our core market. But if clients that are working already with us in Guatemala, in Honduras, or wherever, and they have a good experience with us in the past, they gain confidence that they say like, okay, they do a proper vetting process. They take care of the services. They are monitoring the services the same way they do it in the US or anywhere else. So that makes them more confident and also like sending us requests for these areas. So it's a challenge between like, okay, what is technically possible? This is one thing. And the other thing is like, okay, how do they really see you as a provider? Am I already ready for like telling everyone I can cover the whole world? Or if you start like, let's say with a certain region that might be interesting for you, and you also gain some experience on that, because you can have a client relation already for 20 years with someone just you providing them nationally or in your region, and then they ask you for a service in Istanbul and it goes completely wrong, then this relationship is probably done. So there is also like a risk on that you need to be very confident that you have a proper setup before starting the marketing.
Oh, I definitely
Yeah,
agree.
that's what I meant with visiting the shows first. First, determine your network before you start selling to your clients. Because it's so simple. If you have a client on the phone and it says, "Hey, Rich, can you give me a car tomorrow to Amsterdam Schiphol Airport, flight, blah blah blah." You put the reservation in. You see, for example, to Andreas' example, it's going to Istanbul. In the same question or talk with your client, you can say, "Hey, do you need any service in Istanbul?" It said, "Oh, do you operate there? Yeah, well, I can arrange it for you." And when you haven't prepared that arrangement, you start sweating because
Absolutely.
you are going to sell something that you haven't been prepared yourself for. So first, start checking where your clients are traveling to. And if the clients are traveling frequently to Istanbul, you can start looking in Istanbul for a decent partner. And at least if you don't have the experience or if you haven't been attending the shows, look into the Facebook groups, put your request over there, and you will get automatically the most recommendations of existing partners that have a positive experience with any affiliate anywhere in the world. That's the best way to do it. So be careful before offering because you need to prepare yourself first.
That's true.
And Richard will admit that when we have a question and we need somebody in his part of the world, I'm always calling, or somebody from my team will call, or somebody will say, "Hey, do you have somebody here or there?" Why do we do that? Because we already have a relationship with Richard. So we know if we need somebody in a market that's close to him, that say it's Brussels, say it's whatever. I know we can call and say, "Okay, who are you working with?" So even if you only meet a handful of operators initially, that's a starting point. Because once you build those relationships, you should see results and know that you have a trust level that when I call Andreas and I say, "You know what, we've got, a corporate person who is going to be traveling to Brazil and they're looking for security on for several days along with going to meetings and all that." Okay, you started that discussion. And then once you build those relationships, they can bring you to other trusted affiliates because it's really hard to meet everyone. I mean, let's face it, even when you go to the shows, it's very quick and it's a quick hello and all that. So yeah, that's great answers, guys. Really great.
Yeah,
Um,
it's also important. It's also important. Sorry, Paula.
yeah,
If you start small, think small. Think small in a range that you can handle. If you
yes,
think too big, you can't arrange, you bring yourself into troubles again. So, for example, Paula has asked me several times for partners in Europe. For US affiliates, we always give them a choice. Either you can ask me to arrange your transportation, so I will take care of the whole workflow. We do that at a discounted rate, so you won't have as a one-man army all the hassle overnight. Or I just transfer you a trusted partner that's being vetted by us. I don't care as long as our industry is being transported the way we all want together. Today it's my client, tomorrow it's your client.
absolutely. Well said. Any questions so far? All right, we'll move on to the next one.
I have a question.
Yes, please, Maria.
Sorry,
No, please.
I'm Maria. So we're trying to dip our toes in the farm out industry, let's say. And my biggest fear is what Andreas said, that, I have my clients for over 7, 8, 10 years, and I see where they're going. They're going to Sarasota, they're going a lot to Orlando. So far I've been lucky. Do you guys have like a questionnaire? Like my thing is that I'm going to go and meet them. I want to see their vehicles. I want to meet the team. And that's how I'm going to do it next month. But I want to know, do you have, besides the insurance and all that stuff that we all ask, is there like a vetting process? Google reviews, I know, but is there anything else that you would suggest?
Well, of course, like
Maria, if you want to have
Mhm.
lunch, I'm in Orlando.
Oh, Hi, Annette. I just saw that.
Hi.
You know what? I
You can
will.
come climb up into our buses and check out our dispatch room.
Okay,
Oh my God.
I'll
Yep.
reach out. I'll reach out to you.
Oh my
And then
God.
I'll talk to my owner about coming to Chicago.
There you
Perfect.
go.
Sounds like we just got 2 vacations out of this.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh God, here go the expense accounts again. So guys, I think
Yeah, I can
Maria,
like
if you don't mind me qualifying your question just a bit. What you're talking about is US, but that's a bit of a challenge if you're trying to do Europe and South America and all that. You're not going to go visit all the sites. So I think what
Why
I
not? Why
Oh, you
not?
might, but who knows? But let's, for sake of conversation, let's say probably not 100%. So I guess I understood your question, like what's your vetting process, and do you have some suggestions on how to properly vet and get the information you need? That's what I think you're asking, correct?
Yes, because at the
yeah.
conventions, everybody has their best suits on and their best smile, and
Absolutely.
I don't believe in that. Like, the thing is like on the ground.
Right.
Yeah. So I can give you already some ideas. So of course you should have something like a catalog, like a checklist of things that you want to verify. This could start with the business license, with yeah, like a small background of the company, what is the insurance policies and these things. So these are the basic things. Of course, it really depends on the market you are going to. If you are looking for a partner in Germany, for example, you can be pretty sure that if they have a valid business license, like the rules and laws in Germany, they're so strict that there's like difficult to have any issues. Huh? At least like on the legal side. If you're going to markets that are less transparent, for example, some in Latin America or else in Africa or in remote locations in Asia, then of course it's always about the level of service that you can expect. So you need to have idea like what are you expecting from them, because what is your clients expecting from you. So that means like how old are the vehicles? It's what you consider executive sedan, a regular sedan in the US. In Brazil and in Mexico is already a luxury sedan, and what you consider a luxury sedan for us is a super luxury sedan. In Germany, an Audi A8 is a regular vehicle. In Brazil, this would be like the president's car. So you need to really be aware. Okay, what is the business? What is the let's say the level of standard in certain regions. So are the drivers bilingual? Do they speak at least basic English? Um, of course, the best vetting is stopping by and visiting the facilities. So we have team members in our company, also our CEO, he's frequently traveling to remote locations to see our partners. Doesn't matter if it's Bermuda or if it's Mexico, Brazil, or like remote locations. For example, this year we will have the COP30 in Belém, which is in the very north of Brazil. It's a very small city. And you can imagine that, like, when there is a climate conference, there will be thousands of guests, and the local resources, they are not enough to provide a high level service to international visitors. So yeah, I can share afterwards some bullet points about like what is included in our vetting process and what you should expect. So probably you like companies already vetted you, so you might look also into what other companies are asking for you. The most important thing I think is that you should have something like a service level agreement to standardize certain procedures like the wait times, the how long ahead of the service a driver should be on location, these things. Then of course you should be aware that or you need to brief the company or affiliate accordingly that they work as a white label solution because they will be representing you. And so you need to make sure that they really hand this over. Of course, I can tell you a lot of stories that affiliates that they have in the very end of the service, they pass their own business card to the client and these things. And then, of course, you see how loyal your clients are and how loyal your partners are. There is a risk in that, but there is also huge potential. So of course, it's something where you really need to pay attention on. Like Rich said, it's important to be on the conferences to meet people in person. And then, of course, you need to think about if you have once every 3 years a service in Istanbul, is it really worth to have a network partner in Istanbul directly if you're only talking to him once every 3 years? So probably you need to think about, okay, is it worth to invest my time and money and vetting on that? Because for us, for example, the pandemic, COVID, like our network was reset because a lot of companies they were out of business. So it took us like at least a year and a half to verify who is, let's say, still alive and who is still able to cover services. And yeah, even in the US, you had a lot of companies, they sold their vehicles, they were without drivers and these challenges. So sometimes you need to have a backup partner. So you should not only focus on one partner, you probably should focus on 2 or 3 partners to always have a setup, like a backup and being prepared for yeah requests that are very particular.
Thank you. I do believe Europe has a lot higher standards. I take a taxi in Greece and it's a Mercedes. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a different.
Yeah.
It's
very
different.
embarrassing.
Yes.
Yeah, and one little thing in addition to Andreas is you mentioned Google reviews. I would not rely too much on that because
Oh, no.
everybody can write it. If I need
Yeah.
5 stars tomorrow, I give this audience a request. I give me 5 stars, and I have them tomorrow, for example. So it's more like just give the call, and also important is that you know your client and you know how he feels and reacts on certain circumstances. And if you just make the phone call with a future partner, trust your feelings.
Yeah, definitely.
If you have second thoughts, it's a no-go.
Yeah, I just want to add 2 more things. Like one thing, of course, is what you could do is ask reliable partners you already have for a referral. So like someone will probably recommend a good company to you. That is before you start doing research on the internet. So you'll probably ask Rich, you are close to Belgium, who would you recommend if he's so? And the other thing is that you can do like a secret shopping, of course. You can, if you have, for example, someone of your family traveling to London and you said, I always wanted to test their service, that you can. It's nothing bad. It's just that it's
A
your
ghost
business.
ride.
You
Absolutely.
I
need
do that
exactly a
here.
ghost ride. Exactly. You should do that because this is the way how you can get like real insight. Because of course, if you're asking someone about the quality and the substance of his service, everyone will always say like I'm the best. So this is it's difficult to see, and this is the only way where you can really get an insight of how services are operated and these things.
You know, to Richard's point about the Google reviews, I was just over coffee this morning. I was reading an article and it was saying that the reliability of some of these posts these days is being diminished by the fact that some of these reviews are written by AI.
Uh-huh.
And
Also,
that, yeah, and that you don't really know if it's true, false. The level of accuracy is coming into question by many. So I agree with Richard on the whole review thing. And I also think if you've heard from what you're hearing here is that you don't have to have somebody in every market. You have to have some solid people that you start working with, and then through that, they're confident with you. You have a good working relationship, and when you do need somebody in the surrounding area, there's your opportunity. You're not flying blind, so to speak. This has been a great conversation. Any
Yeah.
last thoughts on that? I'll move on to the next question.
Hey, Paula, there's a
Yes.
question in the chat if we want to address that. A question from the chat.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
From Fellowship Fleet, specifically, what positions, roles, etc., do you target on LinkedIn?
That's a good question.
That was also answered in that in the chat. I posted global travel manager or corporate travel manager, mobility manager or global mobility director, head of travel procurement, employee experience manager, and director of business travel. And that's only a few, but those will give you a lot of opportunities to supply.
Yeah, I actually my background's in tech and I came from the insurance industry. So 2/3 of my LinkedIn are people that I worked with or worked for me. And it's hilarious. So what I do is I try to find the person who is currently handling tr corporate travel in those former companies. And I do that through my direct contacts and say, oh, who's booking your travel at the office these days? And and we make those connections through LinkedIn secondarily. Because if you ever look at my list, I mean, it looks like I do 100 different things. I don't really do 100 different things, but that's the kind of group I have. It's a lot of tech people. So, okay, great. Did we
But
answer?
before we go to the next question,
Yes,
I
please.
have a couple ideas to provide on this. Uh, while globally, we also need to know that each city is it's its own puzzle. The customs are different, not only the vehicles, but also the customs. Like in some countries, the luxury cars are not as abundant as in the US. There are very specialized companies who will have 3 or 4 Mercedes, and that's it. And that's as Andreas said, that could be even incorporated to the CEO's car for that company. So you need to think and make your booking in advance. You cannot call some companies and say, "Hey, I need a car in a couple hours or for tonight or even for tomorrow." Sometimes you need to tell them like 1, 2 days in advance. And also make sure you know about the cancellation policy. I know in America, especially in the US, cancellation policy after Uber has come into a shorter term just to remain competitive. But in some of these places, 48 hours will be the standard, and also then 24 hours, maybe even 12. But make sure about that. And I would also recommend, as just to echo what Richard Andreas said, to go for the recommended ones, the vetted ones from the NLA, or ask your affiliates if they have had experience in working with some of those affiliates. Not, it's very difficult. I know the information is out there for hundreds of companies globally, and you go and just to mention like Cairo, Egypt, and you'll get hundreds of transportation companies. They may charge you, they may hit your card, and the car never shows up, and they have hundreds of 5-star reviews, and then you've lost a company or a client. And not just that, the risk is huge, because you end up losing the whole company, because that was the CEO of your best client company, and you've lost the whole account. So I would have 1 or 2 vetted affiliates that people in the industry have made business with, even if they seem to be a little bit more expensive. We're talking about reputation here, and while thinking globally, consistency builds trust, and all your customers, they hire you and your services because of your consistency, and because you always show up and you always show up on time. But you need to also know that the global presence demands local excellence as well, and you have to have the best in every city. And again, well, just I had written down this, that the while luxury feels like luxury in Chicago might be considered average in other countries like Europe, that like you just said, or what feels like luxury in Sao Paulo is an executive, a cheap car in the US. But that's you also need to know about that, the local taste. Now, there's no global playbook for permits or insurances, and I think GNet, and I'm not a salesperson for GNet, but GNet is really bringing some unification on this industry that is really needed. The new GNet has this capacity where all the affiliates, or the users, the GNet users will post their their licenses, their permits, their insurances, and that if it's even if it's not vetted, it gives a little bit more of trust, and compliance is the new currency in the international expansion. You need to know that. You need to know to make sure these people are insured, because anything can go wrong anytime. And the more, speaking from this security background, you got to make sure things go well. You may seem a little bit overwhelming on calling these affiliates and saying, is the driver on location? Is the driver on the way? Has he picked up? Because also you have to know that in some other countries, they're not used to the American standards, like to giving the every status at every minute, and in North America or in our industry, those are given standards. The notifications, the phone number of the driver. Some of these countries will assign the drivers 2 hours prior to the ride.
Right.
That's just how they do it, and we need to deal with all that and be responsive, but also proactive and on that, and let our clients know the customs are different in all cities.
I think that's a very important point because sometimes they do feel like, well, I want this kind of vehicle or I want this kind of service, and it's not the custom of that particular country. And we really do need to be explicit. And I see Richard had his hand up. Go ahead, Richard. Take yourself off mute, my friend. You're muted.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I didn't want. I didn't want to be too talkative in this show.
No, go for it.
Now, Yoalli point reminded me on one very important thing, and it was also a topic at the last show in Las Vegas. Is stay away from WhatsApp groups, international. Don't put your request in WhatsApp groups.
Amen.
Because we do see a movement going on that a lot of Uber drivers, black lane drivers, Bolt drivers, you name them and you got them, are all in these groups. There in Europe it's really downtime at the moment because of the crisis. And all these independents are moving and exploring WhatsApp groups and join these groups. And any call for a driver in any city, you will have it in 5 seconds. And you will be surprised how many direct messages you receive from 20 others that they are available. But be aware, these are IOs. They don't have a liability insurance. They don't have a reservation system. They don't have anything that's complying to our industry standards. So stay away from the WhatsApp groups and better pay the few dollars or euros more and be confident and trust in your client, because if you put your client at risk in those groups, you better say to your client yourself, hey, sir, I don't want you anymore because I just distributed your job into a WhatsApp group. Then you better tell me before, then he's going to find out afterwards. So stay away from the WhatsApp groups.
I had one WhatsApp group approach me, somebody from that runs a WhatsApp group a few weeks ago. And I don't know how he heard about me, whatever, and we started to talk, and he said, we've got this group, we've got this platform, and you should tell all the IOs to go on it. And I thought, okay. Yeah, that I wasn't comfortable with that at all. But I listened because I think it's important to listen. You might learn something. What he was trying to do was just get as many IOs as he could on this one group so that he could go out there and say, like you said, instant flash service. That wouldn't, I think it's risky even for us in the US in our local markets to even deal with that because there's no way to vet them.
It's basically the international WhatsApp groups, you put yourself at risk.
Absolutely.
Because nobody knows, but if you are in an international group, everybody in that group can make an export, including your name and phone data, and it can be sold to frauds.
Yep. Yeah.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Yes, sorry. So to follow up on what Yoalli had said about GNet and our new Connect portal, and on this very topic, I think Reza might be the better person to explain it, but within the GNet Connect portal, not only do we have what was already discussed, which is the ability to upload your pertinent documents, which gives you a little bit more level of, trust for a partner who's looking at it. But considering that we've got over 4,600 travel companies on the network, we also do and have taken to point the WhatsApp situation, plus all the social media. Who do we have here? Who do we have there? If you're not online at that moment, if you don't see it, you also have to go looking for it and searching for it, and it's difficult to find, and you may miss out, or the quality of person you're looking for may not be online at that moment. So I will pass it to Reza to explain our feature that we have within the GNet portal that is meant to address this particular issue. So Reza, if you don't mind, could you please explain?
Actually, this was about maybe 6 months ago at this group. Someone asked that, say, hey, why you don't create that some functionality instead of be proactively going to 20 WhatsApp groups? Why don't you create such a functionality? And the light bulb turned on my say, yeah, why not? So the initiative came from you guys, say, hey, build this. And we built such thing called affiliate needs. So when you post it, only GNet members see, not outsiders. And even you post your need, you can tell, hey, only post this to my existing partners, even not entire GNet members. Let me give you an example. If you're looking for an sprinter in Miami, let's say, and by this weekend, you can put this need and post it. And then again, you can set the security level to my partners only. So if you have 20 partners, they will see it. Or GNet members only, then all GNet members. And the good news is that you can subscribe by location. Say, hey, my service area is Amsterdam, or my service is in New York. And if someone puts a need or posts a need, I want to get notification. You don't need to proactively look at that screen all the time. So that's basically if someone posted, you got a WhatsApp notification or email notification. And then if someone looks at this that need, they can reply it, say, hey, this is Reza or Richard. I have the service or I have a question. So we can start doing conversation.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So you have tools. You don't have to go out to the social media groups, and when they say Chicago, 9,000 people answer.
Yeah, let me put
There's a filter. Basically, there's a filter there
Right.
that will eliminate all the people you don't want and give you an opportunity to make new partnerships or find service through a more reliable source.
Yes, exactly. And also, again, this is not coordinated. We're not saying you have to go to the GNet, but GNet is really offering this filling up this hole that is a great need in our industry, because we are the professionals. We're not the Uber drivers. We're not the black lane independent operators. We're trying to be, all of us here at this call, we're trying to build a company which is reputable, and we've all invested in our insurance, and we've all invested in our website, and we've all invested in our branding and the marketing, and we're here. We're investing our time in this call. So for me, with all these people who have Limo Anywhere or GNet, or that are able to invest in a reservation software instead of using just free tools, which is valid, but for me, they don't represent trust. I mean, someone who is not willing to pay a monthly fee just to provide trust and to get more investing to his business, like GNet, Grid, whatever, again, Limo Anywhere or any other software. I mean, he's just trying to get jobs, as many as possible. But then if they don't show up, what's the consequence for them? They'll still be there. They will not be cast out of the WhatsApp group. They didn't invest anything. They don't have anything to lose. So you have to look into that kind of affiliates that who will be looking to invest into the business. And the first thing they invest is trust. Showing up in time with the standards and all those things. So and that even internationally, well, GNet is there for all of us, and it will be easier for you or for all of us to find a local affiliate and we have to make use of this technology.
No doubt.
Yes, there's one important addition to the GNet Connect pages. GNet made it available to upload real-time photos.
Yeah.
So if you go to any website, you only see icons that everybody can buy or steal or copy or put them on your website, and everybody is showing the same vehicle. With GNet Connect, there is a photo album, and we took the opportunity to put it as full as possible, because we ask our drivers every day, please bring us photos of your daily workaround. So if you are at a hotel, make a photo. If you are at the kitchen, the flower gardens, shoot a photo, and it will be the next day on our website. And it's not for SEO; it's only for affiliates to see, hey, this company has these cars. And you know what? Since we do it this way, we don't get the question anymore. Can I have a picture of the photo of the car that you are going to be using for my client?
Right.
Because that's one of the most difficult questions you are asking to an international affiliate, because you are asking a photo for a service that will take place in 2 or 3 weeks. We give you that photo, and at the day of booking, that car has been allocated to another job. Well, you create your own complaint. So we transfer the requester. Okay, this is our site at GNet Connect. Those are our vehicles, and we cannot determine if you will get car A with that plate or car B with that plate, because they are all the same. Only the stitches may vary in of that car. So that's a very important part of the GNet Connect
I
opportunity.
like that because I always get asked that question. And then sometimes we use Fords too. And so sometimes people will say, oh, no, 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 that's not, we want Escalades. And then our clients get in the cars and they're like, we love these cars. Well, what is it? They don't even know because they don't
No,
care.
exactly.
They care about the team and the quality and the delivery effort. And so it's kind of a funny situation. But I think by posting the pictures, because we actually picked up another sedan this week. I was actually thinking about putting them out there somewhere because um, I we try to emphasize very heavily here in this market and everywhere, even with our global partners, because some of them do push back when we say it's this kind of a car. Well, he needs this kind of a car. Then we send our car, and they're like, "Oh, everything was great." Well, of course it was great because a lot of the vehicles look the same inside. They're not, so we constantly run into that challenge. But once an affiliate has been with us, we have one in Europe that really was freaking out because they wanted a certain vehicle. We didn't have it. We sent the driver, everything was perfect.
Yeah.
So even the vehicle, they were like, "Oh, that was fine. We could use that again." Oh, yeah, all right, great. And it's not criticism. It's part of building this whole affiliate relationship goes both ways. And you have to be, to Rich's point, if there's someplace I can post this stuff, great. I'm going to put it out there so people will know what I have. Um, and I think we just all have to do a better job of emphasizing our value proposition. Whether I'm trying to work with Andreas on a project in Brazil or I'm calling Richard again for somebody in Austria. I mean, the whole dynamic is put our best foot forward. So however you have to do that. And the tools, the GNet Connect, my team we're just starting to dive into it and we're trying to figure out what we want to put out there. But we're excited about it because
Yeah.
this will help to make it a little more, for lack of a better term, exclusive because our one car operators, quite candidly, and my folks here from Chicago will either say yes or no, aren't really going to be investing that kind of time in there. They just don't have it because they're working independently. So, but it also allows us to strengthen our own availability and be able to showcase what we're doing and what we have. This has been great.
Hey, Paula.
Yes,
On that note,
yes.
I think education is the key. So if maybe GNet can provide, I don't know, a 30-minute tutorial or or a series of tutorials that can kind of like help understand truly how to navigate the technology, I think maybe we can get past that we don't have time scenario
Mhm.
if we truly know how to work the software.
I agree.
I
I'll let
think,
Yasmin talk
yeah,
about that
actually,
and Reza because they're already doing
you
some.
you turn another light bulb. Thank you. So we'll
Okay, I
work on
did.
that. So, yeah.
Paula's the best. Yeah, we do offer bi-weekly workshop sessions, and they are built to help educate users. We also have a YouTube channel that's got some basic tutorials. There's, it's a what is our can you put up our YouTube link as well,
Yeah,
Reza
I
Jan? Thank
will.
you so much.
Yeah, actually, we're working on sort of affiliationship 101 session, like another session and a blog. So it is even not just a GNet, it is in general. It is, yeah, we are a tool, but there are some principles. So like session like this, I like to compile all these points, like Richard and Andreas and Yoalli did that. We compile all that
Right.
in like 101, what is affiliationship 101, for example.
Mhm.
And then we can talk and then we can enhance that. So I really love the idea.
Yeah. And again, the workshops basically, I think what we're going to try and do moving forward is we're always bringing on a special guest that we feel may have something that's of value to GNet users. One of the things we realize is they're very well attended, but we've got a variety. We've got absolute beginners who have just signed on to GNet, and then people who have been on GNet forever. So I think moving forward, we might try and categorize each meeting. So like this one is for people who've just signed up on GNet so that we can answer their questions. This one is for people who have been on GNet for a while and want to learn more about GNet Connect and how to use it. And we usually have our tech team, everyone participates. And so you get a lot of questions answered. And then, of course, we're always available to help one-on-one if the questions and complications that you're facing go beyond what the scope of the workshop says. But if you're not a member of our GNet users group on Facebook, please do request to join. We've got, I think, 1,600 members there now.
Yeah.
But that's a place where we advertise when the workshops are. And then, of course, we have a mailing list and we've been sending out, notifications. So if you aren't on it, if you could, let us know, send us an email and have us put you on the list or join the group. That way, let me just quickly look at the calendar. Reza, do you know offhand when our next workshop is? I think it's not the 18th.
Not next, sorry, the other Wednesday, not
20,
tomorrow. The other way. Yeah.
23rd.
Okay.
Yes, I think it would be the 23rd. So yeah, we're here to help. We're here to make your life easier. So we're very receptive to any ideas and we're very receptive to helping you guys out. So always feel free to reach out, support@grdd.net. Let us know what your question is and we will take care of you and help you through this.
And I'll talk to you offline about maybe we can put something in the newsletter, our weekly newsletter too.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. It won't be me, it'll be my writer. But yes, we can start putting that out there for them too.
Thank you.
Okay. I thank you, Reza, for joining us. I really do appreciate it. Always good to see you. Okay. I just want to touch a little bit. I think we touched on technology, we touched on service levels, but I have two other things I was hoping we could touch on real quick. The first one was talking a little bit about the differences in service. So customer service hours, we get a lot of issues or not issues, concerns from operators who say, Richard's not 24/7, or Andreas, they stop answering the phone at 8 o'clock or whatever. And they don't understand, and I don't know, I'm quick to explain the differences and they get it. But I know that culturally and across the globe, service levels are different and customer service levels are different. And could you share a little bit about that?
Oh, of course. So, for example, like as you said, it varies a lot which region we are. Like you are having services. If you take Asia and some countries, like at Friday afternoon, the phone is down until Monday, let's say, and only in urgent, like emergency. But new bookings, they don't accept new bookings in some regions. So on the other hand side, it's that you have that you need to be aware if your partner has 24/7 support in English. Sometimes you have to deal with languages, and then you have to deal with translating services and these things. This is really a challenge. And then, of course, it's about like probably in the US and also in Europe, like the speed is king. So like you get like a feedback on your request within a couple of hours or minutes sometimes. In some regions, it takes until up to 2, 3 days until you get a feedback if it's not an urgent request. Um, it takes time until you get a good fluent communication with certain suppliers. So you need to be always in. You need to also always need to be in contact. As I said before, if you are only every 3 years, if you have only every 3 years a service for Istanbul, how will you get a like this? He will not see this affiliate will not see you as his primary client. He just says like, "Oh, Maria is calling me every 3 years because there is some of the clients going to for holidays every 2 years to Turkey." So they will not invest in this relationship from their side. So that's very important. Like we're creating expectations not only from your clients but also to your affiliates. So like I cannot go to Rich and say like, "Hey, Rich, I have tons of business for Netherlands. It would be great that you like get the fleet of 10 S-Class or something." So like you create expectation on Rich that he's getting richer, but it's actually like you should not do that. You need to be bold and transparent, like what your partners, what they can expect also from you, because in some regions you don't have a lot of choices. If there are some remote locations or some places where you have only a bunch of operators, and if you screw your relation with one, probably you're without a provider locally anymore in the future. So it's not only like you looking to them, it's also them looking to you. It's very important on that.
Absolutely is. I think the one challenge always has been that I think here in the US, when we're communicating this whole global relationship, that we have to emphasize the fact that we have got to be um, we need information as early as possible. It's not that you can call. I have a handful of high wealth clients that constantly will send a text message. They don't care. They think, I'm going to the airport in 4 hours. And we're trying slowly but surely to remind them that in order for us to provide the best level of service, you've got to really try to give us a little more time. We will do everything we can to accommodate you because in reality, sometimes we can't. And it's no different if we're trying to arrange that particular service in Brussels or in Amsterdam or in Rome. We're going to run into the same thing. And so it's very important, I think, here that we all, as operators, start to emphasize that this is a service. Yes, I can provide global transportation, but to give you the best in class service, I need as much information as early as you possibly can. Now, there's always exceptions. Please don't get me wrong, but not. I have some that every day is a last minute call, and that would never work. If you're trying to, I mean, I tried to arrange something for one of my guys in Scotland, but he told me like when he was getting on the plane, it couldn't be done. So I think we want to avoid disappointment, and to avoid disappointment means we've got to start setting expectations now, as you are starting to move into this whole global realm and say it's a little bit different. We just had a situation last week. One of our members was calling me because she arranged for transportation in Saudi Arabia for a business, series of business meetings for a client, and they were angry because the cars did not have leather seats. Well, my first question was to her, okay, I guess going forward, I mean, it is a hot climate. They may not necessarily have leather seats in some of these vehicles. Now, was that something she missed? Not necessarily. It's not something we always do. I mean, here, every leather is the standard. You won't find in our market any vehicles that are not leather, but we're also not in the desert either. So there are those nuances too that we all have to kind of learn to deal with. And her and I had a really good conversation about it because she said they were upset. Excuse me. And I said, well, now you have to go back and explain why, you know. I hope that makes sense. Excuse me. So I wanted to put out there a couple more little things. So I think we touched on the last minute stuff. Um, is there anything else on the operations side you want to touch on before I go into the last question?
Yeah, I have a little addition on your question of about availability of an operator. In Europe, it's very common that they are in the weekends closed, available 24/7 for urgent needs.
Right.
But the question here is what for us is not an urgent need could be for the requester. Because they have the client right now on the phone and they are asking a price for next week.
Yeah.
And they want to serve their client. They are experienced with the service they provide. So if that client is calling for a rate somewhere in the city where they are located, they are used to get that price on the phone within 5 seconds. And if they are expecting to have the same situation for an overseas ride, then we often experience that a call agent of a larger company needs that price immediately because their client is waiting for that rate, even if the job is for 2 weeks ahead. But they still are expecting it as an urgent request. And this is where I'm looking to my neighbor Yasmin again, and this is where GNet comes around the corner. GNet and we are working on GNet quote system, so affiliates can give a price with their client on the phone very soon. The last tests are being successfully. But if you have your client on the phone for Amsterdam and you go to GNet Connect and you request a rate in Amsterdam and you select DMC as partner, you will have that rate in the same second with your client on the phone. That's a big step forward.
That's a game changer.
Yes, and that's an absolute game changer. And as we speak, we are testing also a virtual assistant, both via chat box and soon it will be in voice system as well, where you just can type into the chat box the same questions and you will get your price with a split second back with all the details. The benefit to do it via GNet is that it will create a request on your end in your reservation system, and it will create a quote request automatically on our end as a quote request. So the details are already there. So if the client confirms a day later, you just have to toggle the quote request into a final booking. So you don't have to double work anymore. You don't have to farm out anymore because it's already known on both sides. So, and that's a game changer again in 24/7 operations.
I love it. Every time I come to these things, I learn something else I didn't know about. It's so great. I mean, because there are needs for people do demand quotes, and if you're not if you're not open 24/7, I mean, we can't. I mean, it's not a reasonable request, but if there's technology that will supplement those requests, that definitely helps tremendously.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what the world is coming to for sure. Wow, this has been a great discussion, guys. Are there any questions in the chat box before I ask my last question today? I've kind of been relying on Chris. I'm assuming there's nothing.
Yeah, nothing in the chat box.
Okay, good. So I asked the panel if they wouldn't mind sharing if there are any upcoming major events in their service area that we should all be aware of. Like, for example, in May in Chicago is our oncology conference at ASCO, which is a global conference. It brings about 40 to 50,000 people in Chicago in May. So please do not call me looking for a bus at the end of May. I've already said the buses were sold out in January. It's amazing. But that, and then of course we have all our festivals and things like that that attract tourists and stuff, and we hope that continues this year. We're waiting to see our cities the uh, group Choose Chicago, which runs all of our manages all of the events and provides the statistics on hotels and occupancy rates and all of that kind of thing is just changing hands right now. But I wanted to at least share the ASCO conference because it is pretty large. Are there any things that you guys want us to know about that are coming in your area?
Well, regarding Brazil, I can let you know that in November there's the climate conference, which is like probably the biggest event in 2025. There will be also in July the BRICS conference in Rio de Janeiro. This is probably like more for political delegations, but can also attract some further people. Of course, the for next year, everyone is talking about the World Cup. I know that
Yes.
you guys in the US, you're not that about soccer, but like the world is crazy about soccer. And
Depends on where you came from.
so probably this will be like and like this of course will be something that you are currently like all those cities that are venues, they might not feel this right now, but like this is something that will like be quite interesting. Don't expect too much. I worked for UEFA and FIFA in Europe. It's only match day -1, match day
Oh,
and the day after, but it's
okay.
not, you don't expect that you have bookings for like the whole period of the whole tournament. So it's only a day prior, the match day and the day after. So it transfer in, daily service and transfer out. So this is what you can expect actually. Yeah, these are like the most important events that I can state right now. Of course, there will be the IMF meeting, and that's pretty much the most important that I have to state here.
And I want to expand on the World Cup in 2026. There have been numerous people within the various affiliate groups on Facebook that have sat there and tried to get pricing for vehicles in 2020 with the expectation that obviously, and they didn't list cities or list dates or anything like that, or they listed the cities and they were unable to connect that that was someone looking for World Cup transportation. So if you do get one of those requests, please be mindful of it's likely to be World Cup related, and that you need to make sure that you have an appropriate fleet and appropriate pricing and appropriate staffing. May or may not be some security credentialing that needs to go on. I know in my market, Kansas City, they are talking about extremely limited access, and the only way that you're going to be able to get to and from the event is through public buses. So we don't even know. They're still trying to figure out the whole security thing in my market in Kansas City. They're still trying to figure out, what for the VIP transportation that would take private car, what that is going to look like for us. And so it's going to be a very interesting event next year,
I'm sure.
especially as we apparently have crazier and crazier people that are, doing weird things here lately.
Yeah. I think you're right, though, and it could be premature for some people to know what all of their restrictions are going to be. I mean, we were a few weeks before the Democratic convention, and there were still changes in security and everything, right up until like probably the week before. So, it's a good point, though, to Tim's point about, whatever you can provide that you know about when you're quoting, that would be a big
And
help.
that's something that I've had conversations with other people as we build our affiliate list and we build our affiliate networking materials, our marketing, our email lists. Be mindful of sending out emails to your affiliates saying, we have this event that's going on. You're going to expect limited availability, higher pricing. For instance, we had the Super Bowl in New Orleans. There's the NFL draft getting ready to kick off here this weekend, I think, maybe.
Mhm.
We've got the NBA All-Star games, the Major League Baseball All-Star games, the World Series and stuff like that. Some of that stuff we know ahead of time. And, you know, NASCAR races where you may have institute higher pricing or higher minimums or something like that, make that known to your affiliates so that they're not caught off guard when they have someone traveling to that market on that day that the NASCAR race is going on, and the next thing you know, oh, it's a 6 hour minimum. Well, it's just an airport transfer. Yeah, but it's a 6 hour minimum. So be mindful of educating your affiliates that on this particular day, you're going to expect reduced availability. Not, I don't want to say reduced capacity, but reduced availability, increased pricing, increased minimums.
Right.
So, because that will help, you know, that will help me as an affiliate try to sell something in your city. If I know ahead of time that, hey, you're going on a day where Taylor Swift is performing and it's going to be a high demand. You're going to see higher pricing. That's what it is. Or you've got Monday Night Football going on. That's, for you guys that are international, you don't care about our crazy football games, but I mean, we have NFL games that, are traversing the globe now being played in Brazil and Germany and England. And, that's
Absolutely.
all stuff that, that the average consumer may not realize that, hey, there's an NFL game going on that day in London. So, you're going to expect different, know to expect different pricing.
Yeah.
Especially, I just wanted to add one important thing is like when you have these type of events, in some regions you can expect that they ask you for payment upfront. And so,
Right.
look, of course, so you need to be aware that if you want to play, you need to pay. So that sometimes it can happen that you need to pay in advance some couple of weeks or months, a bunch of dollars, and that you need to be aware that you have it aligned with your client as well, that they are aware that they have. This is something about, like, I forgot to mention about the challenges about global operations, is that you need to align your cancellation policy with the cancellation policy you have with your local partner.
Absolutely.
So, and then you need to think about, okay, this is Japan. Let's say, like, just an example. I'm just giving you an example of our daily life. The affiliate in Japan gives you 48 hours of cancellation policy, and you have with your
So I
client.
can have a brown candle moment.
And you have the cancellation policy with your client also 48 hours, but can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and you have the same cancellation policy with your client, but your client will cancel at 2 a.m. Japanese time, and you will be only sent over the cancellation like an hour later, probably, and then you're already past the 48 hours, and then you have a problem. So you probably need to be aware that these global activities need to have a proper setup in the office, and you need to be fast. You cannot wait like have an email coming in at 11 and just answering at 7 in the morning. Probably with the international business, it's not worse. So you really need to be aware that you have a team that is 24 hours available if you want to do global business, or if you want to stay, let's say, in your time zone. So if you're in the US, you can also do Latin America. It's not a big challenge because you have how many time zones in the US? 5 or 6 already, huh? And but if you're dealing with teams on the other side of the world, then you will be punished and you will have some red eyes.
And also, Paul is going to hate me for this, but
I will.
when it comes to time zones, make sure that when you put it in your email, that you're putting the correct time zone in the email. Like right now, we're on Central Daylight Time, and that's different. I mean, you're in Mexico City. You're
I'm
also
in
in the
Mexico
Central
City.
Time Zone, but you're Central Standard Time because Mexico does not observe daylight time. And that's something that, when you are doing global work, you need to understand that there is a difference between standard time and daylight time. And you don't want that confusion to be made to where, I send something to Yoalli and, well, he's an hour late because they don't observe daylight time.
We have it within our own states. So Stephanie's on the phone. She's from Epic in Indiana, and we do work for them. And when we go to South Bend, the time zone, we're changing time zones. We're only go an hour outside of Chicago, and we're about 2 hours almost. And the time zone changes. And trying to explain that to an affiliate one time was absolutely crazy. And in the very end, we did tell them, okay, it's when we get there, it's going to be an hour later. They said, yeah, we get it. Then the next day they'd call and say, We changed the time, and I'm like, well, you just moved the time backwards. So it was it can be confusing even within our own country to try to explain to people that I'm driving 40 miles and now I'm into the Eastern time zone. So it happens a lot. So yeah, Tim's right. It's wherever we can make sure
I,
it's accurate. But
I know it's a bit of a dead horse for me, but
I
it is
know.
something. It is
I
something
let
that
you bring it
is.
up though.
Yeah, yeah. And also at the same time, and I don't know if this was mentioned. I'm sorry if it did, but oftentimes when we're dealing with people that are in the financial industry, dealing with road shows, they want information of the chauffeur well ahead of time. Be cognizant of calling that chauffeur, what time it is locally for them, because it
Yes.
has occurred several times in my market where I've got a chauffeur scheduled to do an 8 to 10 hour drive, an 8 to 10 hour road show starting at 7 a.m. The affiliate doesn't look at what the local time is here and ends up calling the chauffeur and waking them up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go over the details.
Happens to us a
And
lot
that
too.
and that is one of those things that you're talking about a safety sensitive function in operating a motor vehicle, and now they are not getting the adequate sleep, the necessary sleep, because you're wanting to go over details that could have gone over the night before, or could have waited until an hour ahead of time to make sure that they have the exact exact routing. So that's something else to be cognizant of. Just when you're dealing with people in a global market in other time zones to be cognizant of what you could potentially be doing. And also, that chauffeur, don't send them a text message and expect a quick response. They might be driving a vehicle at 75 miles an hour down the interstate. I have affiliates that jump all over our cases because they don't get an instant response from an affiliate or from a driver. It's like, I don't really want my vehicle totaled.
Yeah, I think there's always a struggle because quite honestly, we've worked with some people, whether it's local or globally, that if we don't answer them immediately on the driver status, and we have driver statuses and they're available, they'll start calling the driver. And we have a law here in the city. If they pick up the phone, the cops do not care if they're POB or not. They will pull them over and give them a ticket. And those tickets go against their license in Chicago. So we don't want them to be, we don't want to stress out our drivers. And so we constantly say, call the office, call the office. And it's tempting not even to give them the driver's number, but we know it's important to do it because there could be things. I think I know I talked to my affiliate person about it too, and we're going to try to make sure when we're working with affiliates that we emphasize for safety reasons that please call the office, and we're not quite 24/7, but we're really close. And if we don't have the call center on, there's one of us always available to answer. But I just feel that we put too much emphasis on distracting the driver. And right now that's a big issue for us in Chicago because the driving is, well, Maria will tell you, it's disgusting. I mean, we have a lot of accidents almost daily in certain areas, then depending on the congestion. And I
Oh, your
think,
red lights are a suggestion too.
yeah,
You don't
I
have you
know.
don't have five cars that go through the red light after it's turned red.
Oh, yeah. Well, we got that problem too. But I think that it's important to recognize that um the chauffeur wants to do a good job. And so they'll answer the phone, even though we tell them don't answer the phone. And so we're putting pressure on the team that I'm constantly beating them over the head saying, please don't answer the phone if you're driving. And they do because I so I
And
think
part of it, I blame in the world that we live in that, you order Amazon and you can get it delivered in 3 hours.
that
You,
it is
you go
part
to
of the
Google and
problem.
you get something immediately, and that we want that instant gratification. We send a message, we want to reply instantly.
Right.
And unfortunately, when you have staff that are performing a safety sensitive function, you need to understand that they can't drop everything and reply to your text message right away for something that's 2 or more hours later.
Right.
I mean, patience seems to be a thing that has gone wayward with,
Yeah.
instant gratification that is today's society.
All right. So,
Can I just quickly say one thing there, just as a point to folks that I tell affiliates, call me first.
mhm.
I don't mind you talking to my driver, but I want it cleared because the driver may not have the info yet. Now you have a situation, then they're calling you back. The driver doesn't know what he's doing. You're right, he doesn't. He hasn't been given the info yet. He's not ready to go. So, but if you call me first, I don't have a problem with you reaching out to the driver to get anything specific. But let's touch base here first and then out to the driver. That's all.
That's true, Chris.
Another way of definitely doing it. I mean, I think no matter what relationships we have to just keep explaining our policy on how our drivers work and what's expected and all of that. All right. So
I have one addition, Paula, to what Andreas said about the cancellation international.
Yes, please.
Is go via GNet if you have the opportunity to go via GNet. Because once you have a cancellation on the phone and you hit in your system cancellation, it will be submitted immediately the same second on the other side.
Absolutely. Good point.
So you won't have that great time that you might be 1 hour too late canceling and then getting the hassle of being billed.
That will help. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good point.
Yeah, that is true. Me being Christian, I'm reminded of this story of the Tower of Babel, where everybody spoke the same language, but then their languages were confused, so they would not reach to heaven by building this tower. And after they started speaking different languages, nobody could understand each other, and they could not accomplish anything because there was division. What GNet is bringing is this intercommunication, this capacity or possibility to interact with other softwares, also vetted affiliates. And I was thinking another advantage is also this car or vehicle resemblance, and as where you what you call, Andreas mentioned this, what we call as a luxury sedan here is a regular sedan somewhere else, and a regular sedan could be a VIP sedan in a different country. So they also have this possibility of entering or just kind of putting the categories of the vehicles under the same standard, so you know what you're getting from this other affiliate when you click sedan and mapping out the vehicles. So that's also a great advantage.
Yoalli, just in general, we as an industry have a hard time with definitions. In that there are people that, a limousine is a luxury chauffeur-driven vehicle, and that could be, a Mercedes S-Class. The general public thinks of it as a stretch limousine, the cars that have been modified and stretched out 120 inches. I mean, even within our own industry, we have a hard time with basic definitions in the United States, where it's not a different market, where we're not trying to sit there and go, oh, well, a basic sedan in Germany is an E-Class, where that's more of a luxury item here in the States. It is, I mean, obviously across countries and across geopolitical boundaries like that, yeah, you're going to have that. But even with us in the States, we can't even identify, the difference between what a luxury SUV is or what a limousine is versus a stretch limousine or a super stretch limousine. We have made it difficult that the public doesn't understand it, and we ourselves in the industry don't even seem to understand it.
Exactly. Yeah, so by speaking these same languages, I think as an industry, we'll get stronger, we'll provide better services to our customers, and they'll know exactly what to expect. We'll know what to expect. We'll be speaking the same language regarding the timings, as you said, and I think that unity is what we're looking for as to becoming more competitive in a different arena than the Ubers and the Lyfts. And I don't think the way to compete is via pricing, but via communication and standards and becoming global and unified. Just we have all that we need. We just need to start using it.
I agree.
I was gonna say the same thing.
And Tim, just to add that regarding not only the vehicles, it's also like, for example, if we take the Caribbean islands, you don't want to drive around in a black vehicle in the Caribbean. So like most of the luxury vehicles, doesn't matter if vans or sedans or SUVs, they are white.
Yes.
because it's a color that does not absorb sun that much, and that's like also like the outfit of the drivers, so the attire. So you do like they don't use it. They're not like using a black suit and a
Well,
tie. So
no,
like
that's just
probably
that's
yeah.
crazy
So
talk. 100 degrees with high humidity. They're not wearing a black suit, 3-piece suit. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
yeah, of,
I
I
think
mean,
you've
what is?
lost
Come
your
on.
mind, Tim. Okay.
Yeah,
Of course, and like then even though like even in the US, like you need to be aware, okay, how is the pickup procedure at the airport? Is it like just curbside, or is it like at the baggage claim, or is it at the exit of after customs? And so you need to be very like in these details, you need to have your perfect schedule, how you want to have the service happening, and then you need to talk to each affiliate. Hey, how are the drivers dressed? How are the vehicles equipped? Level of English, like don't expect too much also. Like if you speak fluent English in Honduras, you probably will not work as a driver. So
Yeah.
like you can expect like advanced English probably. If you have services in Asia, like don't expect English at all because it's like as I said, like in certain countries, a driver is like a well-seen profession. In some regions, it's just a driver. And like
Mhm.
this is also like how drivers like we're like this was like 10, 15 years ago. We had an event for Volkswagen in Qatar, and we sent drivers from Germany there, and the drivers were not allowed to wash the cars. In Germany, the drivers they will have to wash their own car, of course,
Right,
before
right.
each service. In other countries, in Brazil, I don't think that a driver will wash his car because this is not his like it's not his task. So they would like probably they have team members that are just responsible for washing cars, and you need to be very like aware what are the cultural differences between US and what are like in terms of vehicles, like Paula said, with that don't have leather seats. In some regions, you get because of sanctions or whatever, you don't get certain type of vehicles. Don't ask for Mercedes S-Class 2025 in Venezuela, not in Cuba. Don't ask in Haiti, and then no one wants to drive around with such a vehicle in this region. The
Absolutely.
same is the same is like you need to ask the itinerary of your travelers, like where they are going to. You don't want to drive everywhere in Mexico with like a luxury SUV. Probably in Mexico City, it's not a problem. But if you go to certain states, Jalisco, whatever, you don't want to drive around with this type of vehicle. So you don't want to be under the radar. So you need to learn a lot about each region you want to provide service to your clients. Coming back to don't create an expectation that the service will be the same that you do in your
Exactly.
probably your hometown in the US, but make them aware of that there might be differences and try to explain to them how the service will be.
Absolutely.
This is like the
like how
most
they drive on the wrong side of the road.
yeah, this is something
Something like
different.
that. But
The-
that's a perfect way to wrap this up because it's true. If we have to set the right expectation. It's not that we can't offer the service, but you don't ever want your client to think that the way you treat me in Chicago is going to be the same way that I'm going to be treated when I, go to another country because culturally, process, vehicles, everything could be different. What the value to the customer really is that we are vetting. We're vetting the service. We are making sure it's a service that they can depend on. We're making sure they're properly insured and licensed for that country or whatever the standards are. That's that is the service proposition from I guess you could call it the service guarantee from us. But that's as far as it can go. If it's anything about, well, I want a specific vehicle, well, they don't have Escalades in London. I'm sorry, that's not going to happen, for example, or
Mhm.
whatever it is. And that's come to us on the reverse. When I first started, I mean, we had people that were in London and they wanted us to do some of their clients, and they're like, you need to put a number of, Mercedes vehicles on your fleet. And we said, no, we'll help you find another affiliate. Why? Because we couldn't offer that, we just couldn't offer that level of service at that time. We were still new at it. But yeah, I agree, Andreas. In some regions, it varies. Yeah, absolutely right. I mean, I just feel that for us, the takeaways today were really valuable because you've got to put some thought behind this. I hope it
And
doesn't scare anybody off, but I think
he,
you have such a
well, you brought up
tremendous,
something about secure transportation, okay? And
yeah,
and something to consider, especially if, and I would hope that these travelers are well aware of what they're doing. But in some countries, genders are treated completely differently, especially women in
yeah.
various countries. And you need to work with an appropriate company that knows how to handle the single female executive traveler, um, and also educate that, hey, just to let you know, in case you're not aware, I'd hope that someone who's doing this would be aware of, as a female in this country, you may face certain expressions from the people, or sexual orientation, or things like that
Mm-hmm.
that are more accepted here, especially for those that are in the United States. It's not something that we really consider. But you start traveling to the Middle East, and cultures treat different genders, different sexual orientations, different religions, different ways.
I,
That's true.
I think that's true, but I also think part of
But
that has to be
that's
client
why
themselves too.
Andreas
Huh?
That's why Andreas is correct, and that it's not about luxury transportation. It's about secure, reliable, secure transportation.
Right.
Finding the appropriate company that is going to act appropriately in those situations.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's for
Yeah,
sure.
I would like to just say a couple of phrases, in international limo, while doing this global expansion, uh, our brands are only as strong as our weakest affiliate.
Mhm.
And that not only needs to do with the reliability, but also, as Tim said, it could be a different values. And if they don't communicate, the driver is not going to help them with the luggage. In some countries, it's not used, that's not part of a driver's duty.
Right.
Don't expect them to be wearing this suit. I mean, all these, I would say, values, but also policies. I think the value, or our value proposition needs to rely on communication, to both tell our affiliates what we expect, and being as affiliate, a receptive affiliate, also what we offer and what we can give, not try to lie or impress, because sometimes things are not possible due to local regulations. But also on the customers, on while receiving affiliate farming jobs, uh, tell them what it will look like on the ground.
Mhm.
So I think that the biggest myth in global expansion, it's that it's just a matter of scale and just farming out, and that's it. I think it's a matter of strategy, empathy, and communication with your affiliate, back and forth, back and forth. I think that would give us the execution and the success in a global affiliate strategy.
Absolutely. Guys,
Yep.
we went over our time, and I'm so sorry about that. But this has been tremendously helpful, I think, for everyone. And I personally want to thank all of you for making the time and sharing what you know. And hopefully we taught you a thing or two. I'm not sure, but again, thank you. The recording will be available in a day or two. And if there are no other questions, I want to be respectful of everybody's time, and wrap it up. For those who are local, we're working on a breakfast meeting for May 13th. You'll see something on it very soon. And if there are no questions, I just want to thank everyone again. I
I'm
Thank
going
appreciate
to
you,
say hi.
Paula.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
This was
much.
I'm going to say
amazing.
hi, Paula.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
Everyone.
you.
Paula.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everybody.
Take care, everyone. Bye bye.
You
Bye bye.
too.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye.